Welcome to HabsCast. I'm your host, Eric Macramalla. I am with Grant McCagg, former Habs, a former scout for the Montreal Canadiens, and a scout of all players, knows everything about the Habs, knows everything about especially the young players. Great to have Grant on his show called HabsCast, all Habs, all the time. We are on the heels of the Montreal Canadiens beating the Flyers 4-2. They're 2-0 in the exhibition season, which of course means absolutely nothing. Grant, did you want to walk us through some of the highlights from last night before we get talking about Arber and Roy and Reinbacher and Veleno and Bolduc and the rest of the cast?
Sure. Let's put her up here and have a look at all the highlights.
Oh, I love this goal. I call this a video game goal. Oh, that's a beauty.
Hudson Jordan the rush. He was.
I thought Hudson was more. He was more present as a forward than Slafkovsky was last night. It always seemed like it was Hudson, Cole, and Suzuki. I'm like, where's 20?
Yeah. I know. Till he got the skate in the face. It's funny how sometimes Slav, he needs to get somebody give him a punch in the head or a skate in the face or something, then he wakes up.
He's a fascinating dude. He really is. You just don't always see him present in games. But there's Arber with the empty net goal. So he and his brother both score a goal in the same game with his mom looking on. An amazing, amazing moment. How many have you done? Have you looked into it when it comes to brothers scoring the same goal in the same game?
Yeah, I call it the Sutter hat trick. Each brother with a goal and the fight thrown in there, right? Yeah, I do. I have our crack research team, Eric.
Yes, comprised of you.
Which is comprised of me. Oh, you stole my thunder.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
I went back and looked on Hockey Reference. If you ever need to look something up like this, Hockey Reference is fantastic. Mm-hmm. So I went back to Kostitsyn's last year, Sergei Kostitsyn's last year, and discovered that December 23, 2009, so 16 years ago, the Kostitsyn brothers scored against Carolina in a game.
Of course.
That's the last time, and obviously they haven't done it in a regular season, so it doesn't count officially. But yeah, it's been 16 years since brothers scored. And I checked with Liam, double checked. Said, Liam, is this, can you think of any other brothers that? And I guess they were the last ones, right? I know the Roberts brothers never each scored a goal in a game. So, yeah.
Well, I think the first thing is that, you don't have to do your research. Just ask Liam's brain and he'll give you the answer
right.
Up to his head with that photographic memory. But I guess there's a distinction, right? Brothers on the same team scoring the same game.
That's right.
Versus brothers on opposite. Because I would presume at some point in time, the two Stahl brothers scored in the same game while playing on different teams. I would assume that's the case.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at brothers on the same team. Obviously, the Mahavliches did it, the Richards, but in recent times, the Kostitsyns were the last ones.
All right, so last night I mentioned the Montreal Canadiens beat the Flyers 4-2, including an empty net goal. We know that Marty St. Louis and the coaching staff and management look at these games like from an evaluation standpoint, assessing the players. The outcome doesn't matter as much as where the players are in their development and whether they're good enough to play on this team. The first player that I want to ask you about is the player that got all of the attention last night, good or bad, and that's David Reinbacher. Reinbacher missed all of last season with a torn ACL, so he barely played most of last season. He played in the AHL. Yesterday, at times, he looked overmatched and out of place. Other times, I thought he looked very good, made some really nice passes, and there's a tendency to focus on a player like that, particularly given the narrative that it was a Mishkov who wasn't drafted in place of Reinbacher. Some people have been really hard on David Reinbacher, Grant, this morning and even last night on social media. My position is, wait a minute here, hang on. He missed a lot of time. I still think he's going to be a really good defenseman. It's just going to take some time. He's still young. But curious as to your scout view on that.
Yeah. We saw it even in the rookie tournament. I said, okay, he's he needs some playing time here. That's obvious. He has played 34 AHL games, and that you look at some defensemen around the same size that have become really good NHL defensemen. You look at Simone Edvinsson, 2 years in the AHL. Moritz Seider, year in the AHL, then he went to the SHL for a year, came into the league. He probably could have played that year that he went to the SHL, but he didn't. He still got 2 more years of pro experience in good leagues. Thomas Harley, 3 years in the AHL before he was ready. Reinbacher, 34 games in North America so far. He has to keep adjusting to the smaller rink, the faster game, the bigger players, the best league in the world. It's going to take time. And it's defensemen too, right? You can compare him all you want to a Michkov who, since he was 16 years of age, probably could have played pro hockey, in North America. He developed early, right? Well, NHL defensemen, and especially 6'3 plus, you rarely see them playing regularly before the age of 21, 22. Sometimes it's 23, 24, 25. So I think what we've seen is that he needs to go down to the AHL for a year and develop. The Laval's going to be a very strong team. It'll be great for him. There's no rush here. I was thinking last night, I mean, yeah, media typically and predictably, they've been hard on him, right? Top 5 pick, but still a good thing that this wasn't 2018 where he was picked, right? Because at the time, KK was like, he was it. There was no bevy of high picks that were doing well. There was no Hudson, no Demidov, no Slav that you could get excited about, and the team that was on the rise at the time. So everybody, the expectations were
Brady.
That's right.
He could have taken Brady Tkachuk, I guess.
Imagine if Brady Tkachuk had been, if Reinbacher had been picked 3rd overall in 2018 and Tkachuk had been picked next.
Yeah.
The kerfuffle after 2 years that we'd have been hearing, like, it'd be crazy. So the pressure on Reinbacher so far isn't close to what Kotkaniemi went through at the time, because the Canadiens have had other high picks and they're panning out. And yeah, there's some grumbling, but it's not nearly as bad as
Ryan, I think you make a really good point, is that, okay, so people are being critical of the Reinbacher 5th overall pick without really any reasonable basis to complain at this point in time, because he hasn't had the reps. You need reps, particularly as a defenseman. A defenseman, to me, is kind of tantamount to a pitcher in baseball. It takes time to develop. But you got a guy who's 6'4" with a right shot. He'll be part of the top 4D for the Canadiens, I think, for over 10 years. But the Canadiens, through Kent Hughes and Jeff Gordon, have drafted really well. Not well, but really well. They've made some outstanding picks, some value picks, and then going kind of off the board and picking guys, and it's like, oh, what are you doing? And turned out to be really great. To me, Hughes and Gordon and the rest of the group, including Bobroff, inspire confidence. So
true.
Why, to me, it seems kind of an incompatible position to say, I love all the other picks, but this one, I don't like it. Well, you don't like it. Why? You don't like it because yesterday he coughed up the puck and went off his skate to Anthony Richard, maybe one of the fastest skaters in the NHL, coming straight down like a dart. Reinbacher's got to skate backwards, pivot, and chase him down. I know a lot of guys that can make that play. I'm sorry. Not a lot of NHL defensemen can make that play. Just because of stuff like that? No. I mean, what about Suzuki or Caulfield's goal? Reinbacher, I believe on that play, it was his first pass out. We talked about it yesterday. I love Reinbacher's first pass. That first pass is critically important to a strong transition game. If your forwards want to have a better opportunity to score, your D has got to be all over the puck, and they've got to make a great first pass. I like his first pass. You've got to have IQ. You've got to be able to have on-ice IQ and process quickly. Those cognitive skills are incredibly important for an NHL player. We don't talk enough about IQ on the ice. Reinbacher, to me, when I saw in the AHL, at that speed, at least he had it. So
Yeah.
I see these qualities, Grant. That's why when I see him, I actually get excited. I get excited for two reasons. Number one, a lot of people are wrong, and I find that exciting to begin with. The second reason I get excited is because I'm seeing a lot of potential and a player who can be a foundational defensive element for a decade.
Oh yeah. Well, we had that discussion a week ago, and that hasn't changed. Just one bobble that goes, like, as I was saying yesterday too, Eric. People overreact to one play all the time, whether it be a positive play or a negative play, and that how many times have we seen Matheson do that exact thing that Reinbacher did? Fumbled the puck, it went past him.
Every
Somebody,
period. Yes.
well, I mean, it's Hudson's done it,
Yeah.
but Hudson, because he scored 66 points last year. Oh, that's
Dobson did it in the first exhibition game. He tried to stick handle through three people in the neutral zone and coughed the puck up. No one said a thing about that. Not a single thing.
He wasn't a top 5 pick. He probably got a point in that game. So as long as you get a point, everything's fine. But yeah, I was looking at that goal, and Reinbacher got like the third assist on 2 goals. I think really. Yep. He was on. That he made the play on the Slavkovsky to Suzuki goal. He's the one that headmaned the puck up.
That's right.
There
that was the goal I was thinking of. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that was one goal. Then he was in on. He got the third assist. Doesn't count on the scoreboard, but yeah, I saw a lot of good plays from him. There was good and bad. Hey, does that shock me in any way? Not at all. He's going to go to the AHL and become a dominant player this year. I really believe that.
That is the voice of Grant McCagg, American Macramalla, and this is the podcast called HabsCast, all things Montreal Canadiens. This show is being done on the heel of the Montreal Canadiens, and the heels of the Montreal Canadiens being the Flyers 4-2 in an exhibition game, including an empty netter by Arber Xhekaj. Of course, the exhibition games themselves, or at least the scores, mean nothing, but we can learn a lot about the players watching those games, and we know that the coaches and management have got eyes on these players who are bubble players, looking to see if they fit in. One of those bubble players for me, Grant, well, for anybody really, is Joshua Roy. We talked about it yesterday on HabsCast that he's kind of, I don't know if you can change your attitude, but he's lost 15 pounds. He's taking things more seriously. You know how I feel about that. I'm not convinced you can do that. To me, attitude is effectively a personality trait. But when I watched the game yesterday, the issue that is facing him is that if Joshua Roy doesn't score goals, he doesn't make the team. Because if you remove that from the equation, then there are redundancies in place and players that are more effective at doing the other things than Joshua Roy is. When you watched the game yesterday, what was your impression of Joshua Roy?
I liked his first period. He back-checked, I thought, diligently on 2 or 3 occasions, and I thought, oh, okay. I almost even tweeted out to you there and saying, there's some determination, but I said, well, we'll wait. we'll wait the whole game. And I found that it kind of dissipated.
Not Tom Brady, I'll say that.
It dissipated as the game went along. I think he again, you can work out all you want in the gym, but you still got to get into game shape at the NHL level. He was probably, I think what probably happened was he just running on adrenaline in that first period and used it all up and then kind of faded a bit as the game went along. But I said yesterday that I think he needs to produce, and I agree completely with you there that at some point he'll get probably 3 or 4 games in the exhibition season, I think, and because there is a spot on the third line there, and he'll need to produce if he wants to win that spot. Right now, if you were to ask me who kind of has the inside track on that third line spot, I'd say right now Owen Beck. I just think that his face-off ability, and Newhook is still a work in progress on faceoffs, and Beck can take, especially in situational where it's his strong side, he can be there to back up Newhook in the faceoff circle. He can play decently away from the puck. He can bring a physical presence. You've noticed that Marty keeps harping on we need to be more physical. And Owen Beck brings more physicality than Joshua Roy. At this point, it's fair to say. I also think they want Kapanen. Doc, it appears to me, and I imagine Doc will be in the next game. They're just taking it slow with him, but he was back at practice with Line and Demidov yesterday. I think I expect him to be in the next game and playing with those guys, and that the plan still is for him to start the year with those two. And Kapanen likely goes down, and they just like Reinbacher, they put him in in the prime spot. Like Reinbacher will be on the first pairing play in all situations. Kapanen will be the first line center, and I think they look at Kapanen as a future top 3 center, and Beck may be more a bottom 6 utility player that can play wing or center. And they right now they need that more on the big team, but down the road they need that top 3 center in Kapanen. So send him down, give him prime minutes for a year or half year or whatever. Hope that he really produces, and down the road they're looking at him being one of the top 3 centers. I think that's, if I were to guess at what they're leaning towards right now, it would be that.
He is Grant McCagg. I'm Eric Macramalla, and this is HabsCast, all things Montreal Canadiens. Well, continuing on the Joshua Roy conversation, I think ultimately when you're coaching a team, trust is so critically important. You have to trust the players to execute the game plan. And my sense is that Marty St. Louis looks at Owen Beck and says, you will do whatever you have to do, including running through a brick wall, to execute our game plan. I trust you to make the right decisions, not always to execute, but always to at least make the right decisions and try and execute. And I'm not entirely sure whether Marty St. Louis at this point in time has the same confidence. I'm not sure Joshua Roy has earned that level of confidence just yet. It's not to say it's not going to happen, but I think trust is really important. Marty St. Louis says, look, this team is at a different level now. We have to execute as a group. And this is no longer a situation where we just want to develop the kids and it's all about process. Now it's about winning. And Marty St. Louis may, in his mind, ultimately say or conclude, I have a better chance winning with Owen Beck than I do with Joshua Roy.
Yeah, it could be. I think Roy's a lot better playmaker than Beck, and he
not even close, right?
Yeah, he can generate a lot more offense.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think he's in the mix. But I just been hearing all these every time it seems Marty's bringing up the competitive, that we need more Sandpaper, and that's telling me that they want Owen Beck to win that spot on the third line. Sammy Blais,
I liked him.
He brings an element. I think though that he's a spare forward.
Yeah.
Just what concerns me with him, and I think it's evident, the Canadiens are so fast now that he was a step behind, especially the first half of the game. I think he got better as the game went along, and it might be just a matter of him getting into game shape per se, but as the game went along, we saw more from him. I think he's this year's Pizzetta, right? He'll sit in the stands. They'll bring him in the odd time. There's an injury, tough team that they're playing against, and they'd like a little more Sandpaper. He can come in the lineup some, but certainly I don't see him winning that third line spot. I don't think he's got the speed to keep up with Newhook and Bolduc. And Veleno, I didn't mind his first period too. I thought he had a pretty effective first, and some mistakes crept in. You know that one clear breakaway that
Mm-hmm.
Philly got later in the game, when Jackeye was kind of caught up ice a little bit, or well, he made a rush. Veleno had to be the guy that dropped back for him, and he didn't. Nobody was back. One of the forwards, and it was Veleno's spot to drop back for him, and he didn't. That was a glaring error, and there was a couple other mistakes that I think ultimately, if the Canadiens right now were looking at it and saying, well, do we want Veleno on the third line spot, or do we want Beck? Right now, I think Beck has the edge on him.
I feel like that's the fourth line, because to me, Gallagher, Gallagher Anderson line to me is your third line, and at times it's your best line. And I
agree.
Talked about it before, like, categorizing the lines is a little more difficult on this team, but I feel like that Gallagher Anderson line, and with Evans, is really they're able to execute, and they have the trust of the coach.
They'll get more ice time but I think how they do it is they go by offensive potential, right? Mm-hmm. And it's been like that for years, and it doesn't. Yes, I agree completely. I think Gallagher, Anderson, and Evans get more ice time. And there'll be nights when they get more ice time than the second line. It's all dependent on,
matchups.
If they're protecting the lead, you'll see the Evans line second most ice time a lot of nights. If they're down a goal or two, they won't play as much as the second line, obviously. Maybe not the third line either. But yeah, I just in name only, I call them the fourth line. When they're doing lineups, they're always going to be fourth line, but I don't consider it. It's more like 3A, 3B for me. I agree with that.
Which I think is a good problem to have. That's the voice of Grant McCagg. I'm Eric Macramalla. This is HabsCast, all things Montreal Canadiens. So, continuing our theme of trust, that the players, the bubble players, have to earn Marty St. Louis' trust, have to earn the trust of management. Arber Xhekaj is an interesting case to me. He's interesting because we know he's growing as a defenseman. Defensemen take longer to develop. He is getting better, but we saw it last night. The Canadiens were in a position for a power play, and he blew it with poor judgment, ending up in the penalty box, right? And so that has been the issue, that Marty St. Louis is like, I like Arber, but I don't always know what's going to happen. You want some level of certainty, particularly with your defenseman, but just with your players generally. Are you executing the game plan, and can I trust you? My question to you, Grant, can Marty St. Louis trust Arber Xhekaj?
Well, I think he made steps last year in that regard. And this is an exhibition game, and really losing it wouldn't have been the end of the world. And maybe
Grant, here, hang on.
No, I know.
It is an exhibition game, but Arber Xhekaj knows what's on the line. It's him or Struble for that sixth spot. So he knows. And knowing that, he still made a bad decision. I think we have to be fair there.
Yeah, but last year during the regular season, we didn't see that nearly as much. I know you're critical of him in that regard, but I saw maturation.
I don't love his decision making on the ice.
When the games count, he figured it out last year that you don't do that. And if that happens in the regular season, I'm a lot more concerned than it happening now. Did
you like his decision making during those games down the stretch on the ice? Was he outside of losing? We had that
discussion already. I think you've overblown it, and I don't agree that he was making tons of mistakes. So no, I didn't like his decision making, but I think in part it was him needing to lose some weight and get a little faster, and he's done that in the off season this year. I thought he looked good. As far as decision making goes, aside from that, his decision making last night was decent. I didn't see any mistakes with the puck. He went up the ice that one time, but that wasn't his fault that nobody drop back to cover for him. I learned that in Pee Wee, right? That the defenseman rushes up, you drop back.
I think that's called. I don't think it's called Pee Wee anymore. Let me ask you this.
Well, it was called Pee Wee when
Yeah.
No,
and I still refer to it as novice Adam and Pee Wee, and I help with our local league. So let me ask you this: if Arber Xhekaj is firing on all cylinders, in your experience, someone who's been in hockey a long time, how important is it for a team to have someone with that combination of qualities on your team as a regular?
Well, they keep talking about Sandpaper and stuff, so I think the plan is to get him to play a fair amount this year. I still prefer Struble a little bit.
Why?
If I had to make the choice of which guy I have in the lineup, for me, Struble has the edge. I really liked his first game. I thought he brought lots of Sandpaper. He can hit like a, brick wall. Very, very good physical part of his game, and he's a great skater, good in transition. Lots of things to like about him. But I've seen the improvements with Jackeye too, and it's another reason why they don't want to go with 8 defensemen. If Struble and
14 4s and 7D, is that what the Canadiens want to go for?
14
7? Okay.
I could see Veleno and Blais being the extra forwards. Becker Kapanen winning that spot on the third line.
I have to say that I'm surprised, by the way, you saying that about Kapanen. I know that you're a big fan of his, and I know that you wanted to see him center Demidov and Laine. Why is it that you're saying you believe, not you, but the Canadiens don't maybe see him the same way that you do?
Well, I think they do, because they gave him first line.
But why do you think he'll be sent down to the A, I guess?
Because the plan is to get Doc the second line center spot to start the year. I'm not saying I agree with it, but that's what the plan is. Marty said it. He said it it's on tape. So the plan is, and then again yesterday, it wasn't Kapanen playing with the guys that he played with in the first night. It was Doc back in there. So it's telling me that the plan is to have Doc as the second line center. And I think last year, like they were looking at it, they threw when Kapanen did play, he played on the wing and he played fourth line mostly and stuff. And that's not where he fits in the puzzle. It's top 3 center. So you want to develop a guy as a top 3 center, you don't play him on the fourth line wing, right? Or even the third line wing. Ideally, you want him playing center and playing lots. And he's new to North America for the most part, still learning the smaller ice surface. So I suspect at this point they're leaning to, and again, if Kapanen has the rest of he's a lot better than Beck. They may even slot him in at the third line center spot and move Newhook over. It's a possibility.
Well, that's my next question for you. Who do you prefer at center, Alex Newhook or Kapanen? That's a fair question.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, I like the fact that they're saying to Newhook, we want you to kill penalties. We don't see you as a scorer, playmaker necessarily, not an elite one, that's for sure. And bring energy. I mean, at center, with his speed, if he turns into a diligent checker, he can bring a lot of things to the team. And then if you have another guy like Beck that can take faceoffs to protect them, it does make sense to try that. But I mean, down the road, no question, I prefer Kapanen to Newhook at center. But I think they may be looking at it and saying, let's give him some time in the minors, playing the first line center role, and get him to get his confidence at a high level in North America with point production before we try to jam him into a top 3 center role, which, as you know, Eric, is not many. There aren't many top 3 centers that are under the age of 23 in the NHL. There's a few, the exceptional ones, but It's not a long list.
It's a very difficult position to play.
It is.
I mean, it's a 200-foot position, and you've got to process at a high level, and you've got to be quick, and you got to be able to make really smart decisions with not much warning. That's the voice of Grant McCagg. I'm Eric Macramalla. This is HabsCast. The Montreal Canadiens, the offseason, acquired Bolduc from the St. Louis Blues. He played his first exhibition game last night. Grant, based upon what you saw, what was your impression of Zach Bolduc in his first game for the Canadiens?
I thought he was underwhelming. Didn't see a lot from him last night, but that's first exhibition game. You know, we'll we won't get too excited one way or the other. We're not going to go on social media and trash him like Reinbacher got trashed.
I was busy defending him on social media. It's exhausting. It's like, here's the thing. These are the same people, Grant, that say the Canadiens should trade Demidov for Crosby. It's like, thank God you're not in charge of this team. That is the most, I'm putting it nicely, the most challenging, ambitious, perhaps, trade request I've heard in a long time. It just suggests a complete misunderstanding of how an NHL team operates.
I tweeted that out a couple days ago. Did you see that?
Did you? Yeah. What? Yeah. Demidov for Crosby?
Yeah. And then I said, but Semyon's VHL contract isn't up till the end of the year.
Oh, nice.
That's his brother.
Right. That's right. So, that's good.
But a lot of people, of course, just about everybody. And I mean, it was a good, litmus test for just to show how few people only read one sentence, or they reading comprehension is not forte on Twitter, because I must have had 50 replies. You're crazy. You don't trade Demidov for, and well, he's the great young prospect on the Habs. I said, no, he's not. And they, what?
Grant, I always said, you take 5 people, put them on a couch, watch the same games for 10 straight years. They'll have 5 distinct experiences with 5 distinct views. And 3 of those 5 have absolutely no clue what in the hell they're talking about, which is a lot of fun. He's Grant McCagg. I'm Eric Macramalla. This is HabsCast. I got to say, with Bolduc, I thought the word you used was perfect. It was underwhelming, but again, it's just the first game. So tell us, what does he offer insofar as why the Habs acquired him? What are his strengths? You go, wait a minute, he's a great guy. He's a great fit for this team apart from his age. I think he's 25.
I think that he's a big, strong boy that skates well, that will help the power play. He is really good in that bumper spot, and the power play will take time. You have to work on it, especially when you've got new pieces, and he's the new piece on that top unit. They want him to bring physicality and energy. I think it's a matter of him getting. Let's not forget, last year he played maybe 12 minutes a game, 4th line type thing, and they're going to be asking him to play 15 plus now, and he'll have to, he's still a young player. Stamina is the one thing that takes time, in the NHL, for you to build it up to the point where you can play 15 plus minutes a game. It's one of the more difficult things as a young player. It takes years of off-season training and physical growth, before you're really, Joe Sakic is a great example. He, up until the age of 23, he was good, but at that point he dedicated himself even more so the off-season, built his stamina, and he became a superstar after that. But it took until he was 23, right? I think Bolduc will have a good year this year. People are maybe expecting a little too much from him. It may take a year or two for him to start to truly reach his potential, but they want him to play a physical, direct role to a certain degree. I think they want that third line, all 3 of them, to play that style. Newhook, if it's Beck and Bolduc, hard on the forecheck, grind, keep the puck in the offensive zone with determination, speed, and physicality, and and try to hem the other team in a fair amount in the offensive zone and not give up a lot of goals against. That's ideally what a third line brings to a team, and it looks like that's the hope with Marty and the trio that he'll have third line.
He is Grant McCagg. I'm Eric Macramalla, and this is HabsCast, a podcast, all things Montreal Canadiens. We are doing this in the heels of the Montreal Canadiens 4-2 win against the Philadelphia Flyers last night. A big storyline last night was the other Jackeye, Florian Jackeye. He scored a goal. He got into a fight. Probably didn't go as he had hoped, but he fought a hell of a heavyweight in Delorier. I guess he asked him if he wanted to go, and he said, okay, let's do this. What was your impression of him, at least insofar as, is he someone you can see playing for the Habs in the near future?
A lot of people want that. Right now, there's no spot, I don't think. They re-signed Evans. He's the third or fourth line center. We won't pitch him home into the fourth line center. But I think he still needs another year. I mean, I thought we saw it with that fight with Delorier. Delorier must have 30, 40 pounds on him, you know. It looked like a young lad trying to fight a seasoned vet and not doing so well, as you say.
No, it looked like he went to the George Parros School of Fighting, George Parros later part of his career. That didn't go very well.
No, the goal was the goalie should have had that, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, the shot hit him and kind of went through him type thing. So I don't get, he had a fight in the goal, but again, I think we get a little overexcited with, it wasn't a great goal and it wasn't a great fight. So yeah, cool that he had a goal in the fight, and he did that last year a lot, but that doesn't mean he's ready to step in the lineup. I don't think he is. I think he needs another year and get stronger, one more good off season, come back next year and really fight for that spot. Unless he, the development, I mean, he does just keep improving. So if we see another step between now and let's say the trade deadline, and he's 30 goals and he's beating people up, and not that that's that important. I realize you're not a huge fighting proponent, but maybe they trade somebody that's in the lineup and bring him up and hope that he can be part of a playoff. If they are in the playoff race, that's the type of player that you like to have at playoff time if needed. And maybe he's playing with them by playoff time. Personally, I think he needs one more off season, another full year in the minors, and next year really push for a spot.
I feel his development has been impressive. Just look at his draft position, 4th round, 101st overall. I just looked at the 4th round from his draft year in 2023. They're combined 8 NHL games played by 2 players, and that is it in that round. Typically, guys that go in the 4th round don't really see the light of day in the NHL, but he has made himself relevant. What is it about the way that he plays that has made himself relevant?
Well, what I liked, I think he was 3rd, 4th line his first OHL year, went in the 4th round, but people could see some potential there. After he's drafted, they put him in the first, second line role, first line, and he fit in with skilled players. So what he has shown is he's the type of player that you, if need be, you can slot him in different lines, anywhere from the 2nd line to the 4th line, certainly at the AHL level at this time, and he's not going to hurt you. He can play with skilled players. He can play with energy players. He can play on the wing. He can play at center. That's similar to Owen Beck in some ways, but a bigger, tougher version of Owen Beck. That's a nice piece to have, and he's on track to be an NHLer, no question. I think it just may be another year or maybe even 2. But we'll see him in the NHL, I believe, at some point.
That is Grant McCagg. I'm Eric Macramalla, and this is HabsCast, all things Montreal Canadiens. As you take a step back here, Grant, and look at sort of the broader, take a broader view of this Montreal Canadiens team, I see this team kind of looking like what Hughes and Corden had wanted the team looked like years ago when they took over. That is a fast, skilled team. The Montreal Canadiens were not fast. They weren't as skilled when they took over. When you look at this Montreal Canadiens team, I mean, I watched the game last night. That was a fast team for the most part. Are you satisfied that the rebuild is going according to plan? Are you satisfied that this rebuild, ultimately, the way that the team has been built, that it makes sense and that this team can win and sustain success long term?
Absolutely. Once they get Crosby at the trade deadline, look out. It's going to be a
Sid or his brother, Johnny. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think they're right on schedule. They didn't rush it. I got to give Molson some credit for realizing, okay, this is the plan. I'm not going to push. We don't make the play. We're bad for 2 or 3 years and don't make the playoffs. He's still selling out the friggin' building anyway, so it's not that doesn't matter that much. He's still making lots of money whether they're in the playoffs or not. So he's okay. Let's do this the right way. Keep acquiring young assets and draft picks, and be patient with them. Not try to rush them into the NHL and try to make ourselves look good in doing so. Not listening to all the white noise. We've got to have Reinbacher in the lineup because it makes us look bad if he's not. No, you don't have to have him in the lineup. And things have changed too. From in Bergevin's defense, there weren't a lot of options when KK was stuck put into a top 3 center role. They didn't have centers. They needed him actually. And his rookie year, he was effective. But after that, the next year when he had his knee injury, came back to camp, and it was clear that he was a step behind and that he needed to go get his confidence in the AHL. They felt too much pressure. They'd have thought that there had been way too much criticism, so they didn't send him down to the minors for a half year like they should have. I don't see Hughes and Gorton thinking along those lines. They don't care what the criticisms are. They've got a plan. They're sticking to it, and it's right on schedule.
Yeah, the words that come to mind when I think about the management regime, because it's more than just 1 or 2 guys, is it's thoughtful, there's impulse control, there's restraint, and there's discipline. Those are the words that come to mind. As we wrap up,
reference again.
Sorry,
I called him Jeff Kent.
Oh, you called him Jeff Kent?
Another baseball reference for you.
Yes,
there.
Just as Barry Bonds. They were not friends in the clubhouse. I remember they once got into a fist fight over Barry Bonds' lazy boy in the clubhouse. But hey, if you have a lazy boy in the clubhouse, you should be punching yourself in the face. I think you would agree. Before we wrap up here, do you want to give a shout out to our sponsor?
Yeah. Well, I just, I was going to say that what I like about Jeff Kent is they haven't, and this is what I probably should have said, but they haven't caved into pressure. And speaking of caves, Eric.
Yes, nice.
Bonachère Caves, our
Beautiful.
first sponsor. There's the doing some spelunking there. Eganville, Ontario. It's an hour from Ottawa. Beautiful little village. I called it a town the other day. It's a village. About 800. It says Ville right in the name. So it's a privately family-owned business run by hockey fans. And when I say hockey fans, I mean hockey fans. 613-628-2283. They're open until Thanksgiving this fall. Then back in business May long weekend next spring. Fantastic place to explore some caves and have some fun in the Ottawa Valley.
Sounds like a lot of fun. I know I have 2 young kids, and you're always looking for road trips, and that sounds like the perfect day trip and going to check out some caves. Kids love that stuff because it ties into fantasy. And as we know, young kids operate in the realm of fantasy, which is why they also love sports and look up to players. Grant, thanks so much for your time here. This has been another fascinating episode of HabsCast. He's Grant McCagg. I'm Eric Macramalla, and this has been HabsCast. Chat soon.